This is the Deccan Cliffhanger, 3rd edition. This edition we had a very high participation. There were 60 racers, 18 of whom were racing solo for qualifying for the race across America. And there were 13 teams as well of racers between 2 to 4 participants. The races were flagged off by Fred Bottling, who's the president of the Race Across America, on Saturday, 7th November, from Cafe Nook. We flagged them off while it was still dark, so the races start in the dark. And first racer to leave was the solo female racer, and the last solo rider to leave was the winner of last year's Deccan Cliffhanger. After which we set off the teams, and the reason for this is the longest time that a racer gets, they're set off first so that they have a longer time to finish. And the teams get a shorter time to finish the race compared to the solo, so they are left later. After they leave from Pune, the racers are climbing up to Kathraj tunnel. It's a slow, steady climb, after which the terrain becomes a little easier. It's downhill but low gradients. At some point at Vaifata, the race route heads off the highway towards Mahabaleshwar. And this is the first, most challenging part of the race. At Satara, we rejoined the highway. Here, the heat really starts to have an effect on all the racers. And by this time, the race had strung out. There was Michael, who was far ahead of Satara by that time, and some of the racers were still reaching Mahabaleshwar by the time Michael had crossed Satara. He just had a very good tight plan on his nutrition, hydration. His crew knew what to do, and he just got out there, put his head down and raced.
During the day, the scene is completely different. Everyone is in a high energy and enthusiasm. But as the night falls on, there were lots of issues that riders were facing. Like they were facing, somebody had cramps, so they were stopping. Somebody was taking long breaks. So there were incidences at night that when we slept, a rider sleep for 2 hours. We had to stop, ask their crew, tell the riders that if you stop for such a long break, you're not gonna make it. So just wake up and push yourself up.
After Nipani, and by nightfall, people would be getting more comfortable. We carried on to Kittur, and Michael came in at Kittur in the night to, big gathering of local people who came out to see what was happening. It looked all very exciting. And from Kittur, we turn around and go back to Belgaum. This was a section where most of the racers were finally able to get a glimpse of their competition, because here we go through Belgaum on the road, go up to Kittur and take a U-turn and come back.
From Belgaum to Kittur, that section, I was riding and I didn't encounter any of the riders. I didn't see any light, I didn't see any reflectors in front of me. I didn't see anyone overtaking me in that section. I thought, are we in time or are we on a right? I knew I was on the right path, I was on the right route. But then suddenly, close to Kittur, I saw Prashant Tidke coming back from Kittur. So that was like, wow. I saw someone. I am not alone. I am not riding alone. And then after that, I saw 2-3 more riders coming in behind Prashant Tidke.
It's really hard. These sections are really hard on everybody, crew, racers, because this is where sleep is starting to, hit everyone. And in spite of the fact that Inspire India conducts workshops pre-race every year, and we tell people that one of the biggest challenges of this race is sleep deprivation, and for safety's sake we want everybody to ensure that they don't go into a phase where everybody in the car is sleepy. Arjun Murali, who had a small fall or accident close to Belgaum, he actually quit the race and went to the hotel and slept for a few hours in the night. And then next early morning, he and his crew called up and said, was it okay for them to get back into the race? Arjun still wanted to attempt to finish the race in the timing.
Morning, before my crew, I woke up, washed my face, and then I said, I'm doing this, finishing this. I woke them up, they were very happy. They brought me back to the exact same spot where I crashed. They had the presence of mind to mark that spots with stones and papers and trash there. So we could find out where exactly I had crashed at that spot. We started again. That was the most difficult 200 kilometers of my life.
We gave him permission because I think it's one of the toughest things to quit a race and then to come back in and say, I still want to do it. And we really admired that about him. So he continued next morning. He must have been by then the last person on the road.
People from N-Work, Backpack Outdoors, they were there at the Kittur control point, and the way they cheered me up and gave me encouragement was like amazing, and that got me super pumped up. Kittur, I was almost out. I was getting thoughts of giving up, but then having seen the encouragement that these guys gave me, that got me pumped up. That kept me going all the way till Goa at night.
Getting into Belgaum in the morning was a nice feeling of saying the night is over, and that chai and sandwich there was extremely welcoming. The music at Firefox actually managed to get us, at least get me all alive and awake and whatever. It came as a much needed break.
By the time I reached Belgaum Point, I was feeling much better to go ahead with the climbs which are coming.
Riding in the night in Chorla was an awesome experience. I mean, the visibility was really low, it was extremely foggy, and the biggest challenge over there was the idea was to ride in the lights from our vehicle provided by the car. So we had very powerful lights on the car, but because of the terrain and the speed that the cycle was being able to deliver, it was very difficult for the support car to keep up with that pace because it was very dangerous because of the turns, and there was a fear that they would get too close to the rider and in turn might end up hitting him. So that was a bigger challenge. So at times it so happened that though the cycle could deliver that pace, we had to slow down to keep the safety factor into account.
Michael crossed the finish line in less than 22 hours after start. It was almost a 30 kmph timing. The two people that we received at the finish line after him were the two teams that were leading their categories, and after another couple of hours we received Chaitanya, who came in second place, and Apur, and after that slowly the racers start to come in. Very satisfying. It was a great experience for everyone that came out there. After the finish line, where we finished the timer, we just escort everybody down to the beach, and the race actually finishes right on where the sand starts in Joets at Bogmalo Beach. And at that point, it's great to see them when they come into the finish line. They're suddenly so relaxed, and there's a huge sense of achievement for the crew, for the racers. It's good to be at the finish line and see that emotion come out from them.
I still want that interview.
I put in a lot of energy in this, a lot of money, a lot of time. I gave up, I gave up a lot of social time. I gave up alcohol. I gave up chicks. Yeah, so I was just training for this.
The rider just needs to pedal, it's the crew who ensures that the rider can pedal.